The mass picture of the world is a mere representation that we lost the war we are still battling today. In the presence of COVID-19 cases, students too continue to wrestle with the consequences this pandemic has caused them, rippling their passion towards studies. With limited access to quality education, both students and teachers struggle as they face the brutal reflection of reality. The fact that each living individual is risking their lives in the side-by-side battle of academic and medical crisis is no different from conquering a death-defying escape.
As we transition from the traditional to virtual and modular learning, this struggle has elevated in ways that teaching is no longer confined inside the four corners of a classroom or done in the academic setting that we used to know. And now that the recent implementation of limited face to face classes has been made possible, contemplation still lay in the hands of the educational institutions. Would the learners respond and think better? And the fact that they gain wider access to variety of informations and sources, would it be easier for educators to teach and deliver content to them?
In pursuit in finding answers, we interviewed three high school teachers to answer the contemplations. In what instances that you could tell that today's educational system is such a challenge for you and for your co-teachers?
Well, for me, my own perspective about the education system today, actually, I'm not really 100% in favor of the system as of today. It is very challenging because nowadays it's the teacher who really coming for the students for them to educate. It's not the students who are willing to be educated. That's the number one challenge for me. And the challenge, another challenge is that for me, the second challenge that I face today in connection with the educational system of the government is that maybe it's the economical status of the children, of the family of the child, and because there are times that the parents will push all their children or maybe their students to work hard and in exchange for the absence in school or something like that. But yes, it's very challenging because it's the teachers who are going to give anything. In fact, we have some things that we need to do, like the home visitation, the giving of what do you call this one? Uh, the remedial instructions or remedial materials for them really to learn. But one of the problem really is on the students. So actually, the system tolerated that one. So they tolerated it, and it's really hard for us. It's very challenging.
The learning delivery mode during this time of pandemic is really a challenge to all educators. From the traditional face-to-face practice learning delivery to varied distance delivery mode of the lessons that suit to the capacity and capability of the learners and parents. The varied teaching strategies during the face-to-face could no longer be adopted, which give fear for a less learning outcomes because of the absence of thorough explanation of the lesson, hands-on for the skills, and other delivery of understanding of the lesson. The result of these present learning delivery modes has brought to a more heroic act of educators towards the vision in molding every Filipino's values and competencies for them to build the nation. One challenging instance brought by the new normal educational system that challenged me and my teachers is to go beyond the four corners of our room. That means going an extra mile just to deliver the learning materials to the students, especially to those who are identified as struggling readers,
so that they can still learn despite of the constraints of the COVID-19 pandemic.
Given that, how does the school face the hindrances encountered along the way, and what are the things educators are doing to overcome these barriers?
The things that the school provided us as educator, they give us time to make and design some remedial classes, having remedial materials. And then they also sent us through trainings. They gave us time, they gave us opportunities to be trained in such a way that we can cope up with those challenges that we're encountering today. In fact, the school also designed a what we call, it's not the school but the division designed the what we call SLAB or the FGD, or the focus group discussion within the teachers, so that they can discuss all the things that we have encountered along the way together with the different subject teachers. In that case, the school provided that one. That's why every Friday we will have a class. We just want to focus on the improvement of the things that we need to improve, like the teaching, the strategies in teaching, as well as the coping up with the technologies nowadays that we are facing today. Especially, we are really prone with different virtual platforms, so we need to study that one because not all of us are really mastered on that. So that is why that's one of the school's initiative for us to give an initiative to school for us to learn more, and then we can deliver quality education to students.
The challenge of educating our learners through distance learning has brought several hindrances in order to achieve the aim of the educators. The use of self-learning modules, which most of the schools adopted, sometimes failed to follow the schedule of distribution. The reason is lack of the materials needed for reproduction to give 1:1 student ratio. Aside from the MOOE, the school reaches the various stakeholders for donations of printing materials. The teachers, on the other hand, have used a lot of ways in order to guide the students on how to do the activities presented in the modules. The use of text and chat for queries, follow-up, and further explanation of the lesson have been adopted. For those learners who chose to have the radio-based instruction, learners were monitored. For those who chose online classes during times of poor signal or no load, the modules can help, or in times that signal or load is available, queries are entertained.
Our school has created and implemented the basic learning continuity plan, where teachers are guided on the procedure on how to conduct the multiple learning delivery modalities and to persistently respond to the impediments that have been encountered along the way.
With these innovative ways, how certain are you that learners will learn efficiently in this current academic setting?
To tell you honestly, and to those who are going to see this video, certainty is not the word that I'm going to describe about the learning of students nowadays. As in, like, um, rating from 1 to 10 the efficiency of the students in learning, I guess I can rate it 4. 4 in the sense that we teachers are not guiding them. They're just answering the modules. They're just copying and paste all the things we can find that they can find in the internet without knowing what they are doing. That's my opinion. That is my opinion. And then, honestly, the students struggles. One of the instances is that during our first meeting of the face-to-face extended program of the Department of Education, the students really struggles in the basic things. Since we are off maybe more than a year of classes, so they struggled on the basic. That is why during my first lesson of the face-to-face program, extended program, having face-to-face extended program of the Department of Education, I really started from the bottom. It's just like lecturing with grade 7 students, lecturing like grade 5 students, something like that. So they will really, they are really behind the academic year. Supposedly they must learn about that, but they didn't learn. They did not learn as much as that because of the setting of the education nowadays because of this pandemic.
The constant monitoring of students' participation through checking of attendance for those who get the distributed modules and the report of teachers to parents or guardians regarding on the students' performances, giving of enrichment exercises of remediation, follow up through various forms of media, and home visitation, we can be certain that learning still happens.
About 80% of certainty that learners will learn efficiently because these innovative ways, the basic learning continuity plan created by the curriculum specialists have undergone thorough examination where different options, strategies, and approaches in learning have been carefully studied.
What strategies can you suggest as a teacher to maintain harmonious relationships with parents, students, stakeholders, and organizations in the community?
For me, the best strategy that I can suggest for me to have a harmonious relationship or a good relationship within the community, with the parents and the students as well, maybe a constant meeting, face-to-face meeting with them so that we can track the improvement of their child as well as the relationship of the school to the community. So face-to-face regular meeting with the students. That's actually we are planning for that now, especially the giving of cards. We really need to give the parents so that the parents will know directly on what is the development of the child in the school. When it comes to stakeholders and the community, I guess it is part of our IPSR that we need to have linkages in the community. So we need to reach out with the barangay officials or the LGUs so that they will also know the status of the students as a whole in their place. So again, my best suggestion is that a constant, a regular meeting to meet the parents as well as the officials in the barangay and hopefully the official of the local government team of the village.
Parents should be given freedom to choose an appropriate learning delivery mode to supplement the modular delivery, which is most adopted by schools, reaching each other through various distance modes of communication, presenting both positive and negative experiences, the giving and taking of ideas and opinions, the cooperation between internal and external stakeholders can strengthen the relationships. The best to have in this pandemic is cooperation to achieve the goals of the learning continuity plan of the Department of Education to have never-ending education to Filipino people.
One strategy to establish harmonious relationships with parents and other stakeholders is constant communication and involvement, especially in the decision making that concerns the welfare of the school.
It is not denied that many have likened in the advantage of studying and learning at their own time and pace in the comfort of their home. They can multitask by doing household chores while answering the task given, and few may have had the privilege of unlimited access to flexible learning. That is not the case experienced by students residing far from the city. Access to signal and internet connection is unlikely. Thus, watching educational videos online and virtual teaching done by educators are almost impossible to grasp. And I believe that although face-to-face may have had its own downside, but the advantage it has brought recently has become helpful, satisfactorily.
To help them cope with the challenges brought by academic setting we are having today,
We encourage students to always take things slowly and invest in maintaining the wellness of their being. Apart from that, teachers too have a struggle throughout the entire 2 years.
In general aspect, that does not invalidate the struggles being faced by each one of us, but rather value the essence of constructive tolerance and consideration. Let us take this with a sense of kindness and humility to work with others and walk with learners as they march across the contrasting odds of life and not stride ahead of them.
The condition of today's education may be lethal, but the tip of a pen is not only situated on an empty table. It is within the grasp of every educator who believes that every learner has it, and it only takes a single stroke to rewrite what has already been written.
When the world is busy fighting to be alive, we are fighting to resurrect the enthusiasm that once has lived. And with time, patience, and commitment, can we only say that learning is alive once again.